This is Jason with the special Sunday morning version here of What If I Told You? And as promised yesterday, what if I told you that we are presently watching the WNBA's final season? The WNBA, of course, is the Women's Professional Basketball League, and I'm not making this up necessarily entirely out of wishing them to fail, although in all complete honesty, it is completely deserved. I cannot think of a league that has completely screwed up opportunity nearly as much as this one has, all because a handful of entitled players have decided that they want to basically bankrupt the league. So here's the short version of what has actually happened. There was a new contract proposal. The contract between the players union and the league itself does expire at the end of this season. So the league has put forth a proposal that will allow the average annual salary for players to quadruple. The current max annual per player would go from $250,000 to $1 million. And the minimums would also increase to around $250,000 right now. I think the minimum is $70,000 a year, and so when you're thinking to yourself, "Wow, that's a fantastic deal," and of course, this deal is made possible by the Caitlin Clark effect. But no, these players are so entitled that they have decided that that's not good enough. What they want is a percentage of the revenue. Mind you, this is a league that has not made a dime ever since it came into existence. That they have a revenue share that's identical to that of the men in the NBA. Now, historically, the NBA has printed money left and right. That is becoming even more of a strain on them these days because their attendance and TV revenues and ratings have collapsed. Because honestly, it's a crap product. The WNBA mostly is a crap product except when one player is on the floor, and that is Caitlin Clark. She has the court vision of a John Stockton, has a shooting ability of a Kobe Bryant, and yet the league and their commissioner Kathy Engelbert have physically assaulted her on the floor. Some of these hits would be felonies if they happened anywhere else. And now they've decided that quadrupling of their salaries in a new contract is not good enough because they want the same percentage of shares the men do. That's ridiculous. As I just mentioned, this league has not made a single dime since it has existed. It has lost money every year. Lost money last year to the tune of about $40 million. The TV revenue does not keep up with the present pay structure enough, let alone what the players are demanding. What the players are demanding would bankrupt the league entirely. And so here's how I predict this is all going to shake out. The players will walk out. And they will, it wouldn't be a strike because there's no contract. But the players will walk out. The owners may lock them out. Doesn't matter either way, it's the same result. There are no games, there are no players. The WNBA facing a financial strain of its own these days to keep their previously insane profits coming in, although that league is still definitely profitable. They do need to cut some expenses in some places in order to offset the recent decline in popularity. And the result of that is they're going to be looking places to cut some expenses. And right now, they subsidize the NBA's losses, WNBA's losses. And they are looking for any excuse to get out of that at this point. I believe there are some contract obligations that require them to do that. Why they sign them, I have no bloody clue. But here we are. The league is not going to present a better offer because they cannot. They can't. They lose $40 million a year right now. They can't possibly produce the offer that the players want of, I believe it's like 40% revenue share of all money that comes in. Now, revenue and profit are two totally different things. As a part-time DoorDash and Uber delivery driver, I am aware of this at a level that my driver peers are not. More on that in a different episode, but they want 40% revenue share. Well, if you kindly do the math, that's going to result in an annual loss of somewhere around $120 million. Some people out there have crunched it, and that's generally the result. The loss would quadruple if they met this particular contractual demand of the players' union. So the league executives and ownership will have no interest in continuing games. And if there are no games in 2026, there'll be no reason to continue the league. As it is the WNBA itself already made the players an insanely generous offer. As I mentioned, it would quadruple most of the pay brackets in the league. Because those executives, such as the commissioner, Kathy Engelbert, who, by the way, has put hits out on her players and has screwed up the officiating so bad that she should be fired, but won't be fired because the inmates run the asylum there now. But economic realities, as much as she would want to give them these insane contract demands, the NBA, who is their sugar daddy and is funding all of this, economic reality, unfortunately, is harsh on this one. Engelbert cannot do this. It's fiscally impossible. It would result in bankruptcy of the league, and the result for her is going to be the exact same. She would lose her job just in a different way. So, in order to preserve her job and her assumingly lucrative contract, I don't know the details, to be the commissioner, this is the path that she has taken. She stretched everything as far as possible with this offer, but the entitled players have decided that that's not good enough. So we won't see any games in 2026, I believe, because the players are not going to just suddenly magically accept the offer. They've already staked their turf on this one. They have already decided that that offer is not good enough, and they come out at the WNBA All-Star Game about a month ago with these ridiculous t-shirts saying, "Pay us what you owe us." Well, according to the contract right now, they don't owe you jack. They owe you a hot cup of jack squat. So this stalemate is going to result in no games in 2026. No games in 2026 is going to actually result in the extinction of the league. Because if there are no games, then any of the sponsorship contracts that are in place are also null and void. I'm sure the sponsors would be able to basically back out of that for breach of contract with no games being played. If there are no games being played, the sponsors don't owe the league anything either. And that being the case, if the sponsors all disappear, then the league crumbles. It collapses. It basically files for bankruptcy and shuts its doors. There would be no path forward in 2027. After an entire year off, all of the momentum from the Caitlin Clark boom would be gone. It already is almost gone because the commissioners decided to put hits on her. You know, I wouldn't even call Sophie Cunningham a star player, but she is Caitlin Clark's enforcer. Clark, of course, is the star. The NBA, with Michael Jordan, wisely protected him. Calls all usually went his way. What we're seeing with Caitlyn is the exact reverse. It's the reverse Jordan effect. The commissioner is endorsing and sanctioning player violence against her. Again, as I mentioned, these assaults would be considered felonies if they happened anywhere else. So yes, we are watching the last WNBA season. And what if I told you that it's going to be entirely, in this case, the player's fault? They rejected the best mathematically possible offer that could be thrown at them. It would have made some of them millionaires, and still not good enough. Now, what's going to happen to Caitlyn and Sophie and Lexi Hall and her Indiana Fever cohorts? Well, there is a professional 3-on-3 league called Unrivaled that can make a home for a women's division. I've always recommended that a certain billionaire in Houston who's been trying to get a WNBA team and has been rejected because apparently a $300 million offer for a team in a money-losing league is not good enough for them, even though they've accepted lower offers from other parties. I think their issue with Tillman Fertitta is how he's going to address his arena situation with a new WNBA expansion team. And that's using more than one arena in order to facilitate games against Indiana, where he would use his own arena, which is the Toyota Center in downtown Houston. He also owns the Houston Rockets, by the way. This man is worth $10 billion, and yet they rejected him because he didn't want to put all of the league's games in his arena, which would be a money-losing venture because the Toyota Center seats 18,000 people. Operating an arena like that, for a crowd of maybe 2,000 people, is not economically feasible. This guy did not become a multi-billionaire by being an economic fool. So, Fertitta forming a new league, I think, is completely within the realm of possibilities, and I think he should do it. Mark Cuban is another potential new league founder. I believe that there will be women's basketball in 2026. It just won't be the WNBA. It will be a different league entirely, or it will be maybe Ice Cube, who has his own league going. He might create something as well. And so that is it. There will be women's basketball in 2026. It just won't be the WNBA. So that is my special edition I promised you yesterday. This is an off-cycle one. I'm going to have a new one, a regular one, coming up this afternoon. So anyway, guys, this is Jason. We will talk to you this afternoon. Peace out, homies.